Chapter 11, November. Peace be with you. November 1st. My first love was singing, and I had no time for boys. Christina Aguilera. A singular laser focus. This is what Christina is talking about when you read between the lines of this quote. Singing and music was, and I'm sure still is in some respects, more important than anything else. To have this realization at a young age will put you years ahead of everyone else who is still trying to figure out what inspires them or what they might want to do with their life. It's like you're getting a head start on the competition, if you will. Think of it like a child who is really athletic and starts playing soccer at 2 years old. He or she continues to play throughout childhood into the teenage years and enters adulthood with almost 2 decades worth of practice, discipline, and experience at honing their skill set. If he or she is not distracted by outsiders or noise from the world, as I like to call it, there is a really good chance he or she will become professional at their chosen hobby, passion, or dream, leaving everyone else who has not been at it for the last decade and a half to 2 decades of their lives. Now, there is a point where the focus can go too far and becomes an obsession or compulsion where you don't think or do anything else than said passion or dream. And this might not be the healthiest long-term strategy, as you can turn into a one-trick pony of sorts, not knowing anything outside of your passion or dream. Like the old saying goes, everything in moderation. The moral of the story is to find your muse, or better yet, be open to letting it find you to work its magic, inspiring you to inspire others. November 2nd. Teach me to hear mermaids singing. John Donne. As you might have heard at one point in your life, there was much folklore surrounding mermaids. Are they real? Are they more of a mythical creature passed down from generation to generation by the campfire? Whatever the case actually is, to me, this quote speaks more to the metaphorical sentiment rather than the literal one. What I believe John is referring to is the muse. He's asking the universe to show him the way, if you will, to find the muse, or better yet, letting the muse find you by being more of an antenna or channel to receive it. I know from first-hand experience that when I'm able to allow the muse to find or entertain me, I find myself in the flow state, aka the zone, in a creative tizzy. And when I'm in this state or zone, I'm able to create like a madman for a finite amount of time. It is like heaven on earth, tapping into what I imagine eternity to be like, while still physically present in what we know as time and place. Trust me when I say that it is a magical place to be, so it's no wonder why John wants to learn how to do the same. November 3rd. I have left my book, I have left my room, for I heard you singing through the gloom. James Joyce. I love this. In a nutshell, James is talking about taking action after being inspired by something. And in this case, that something is music in the form of singing. To compel someone to drop whatever it is they're doing, in example, reading a book, hanging out, relaxing in your room, and follow the sound, is really saying something about the beautiful melodies and ear candies being put out into the world. Music and singing most certainly has a characteristic of beckoning you to move, whether that is moving you emotionally to think, cry, write, or moving you physically to exercise, walking, running, lifting weights, dancing, swimming, biking, hiking, etc. It moves you. Singing can turn a mundane, dark, uncertain, scary, negative situation and flip it on its head to make it an exciting, bright, confident, and positive. In a phrase, it puts a little extra pep in your step, and we are so much better off for it. Thank you, singing. November 4th. In singing, you cannot cheat if you want to give emotions to those who are listening. You must have something to tell. Andrea Bocelli. That is so right, Andrea. Not only does it not do the song or songs you were singing justice by cheating, cutting corners vocally, or not giving it your all, you were cheating yourself and the listeners at the same time. Music and singing, for that matter, is a true gift. To half-ass it or not put all you have into a performance is to sacrifice the gift. So many people would love to have the opportunity to sing for a living, and the fact that you do is not to be taken lightly or taken for granted. Let us always remember that we as singers are here to bring songs to life, to tell great stories through these songs, and to do so with a spirit of positive, contagious energy for others to grab onto and resonate with in their daily lives. All in all, music should make us feel or emote something. If a piece of music or a musical performance doesn't, then it or we have fallen short of music's inherent nature. To do this would be a disservice to the song, the music, and to the gift. November 5th. You feel like you're really a part of a movement when you're singing Journey at a karaoke bar. Aaron Paul. You really do, Aaron. This is especially the case with Don't Stop Believing, as it is a song that speaks directly to the human spirit and our need to pursue our passions or follow our dreams. It's as if we are compelled to strive for better today and as a result, better tomorrow. Now, it isn't always the easiest to do this because life has a tendency to throw us curveball after curveball, put continual obstacles in our way, naysayers and negative Nancy's, and setbacks of all kinds. Yet we persevere. We continue to move the proverbial ball forward, sometimes willing our way through it, sometimes putting a hope and prayer out there, sometimes just by dumb, naive luck. If we are lucky enough to make it through to the other side, sometimes a song could be that grounding thing which helps us put it all into perspective or inspires us to keep on keeping on. It's a remarkable thing when you really think about it. So let us always remember that a song can be the key factor in our success and to not take that for granted. When we are able to sing a song in communion with each other, no matter our background, culture, or gender, it is a comforting thing to know we are not alone in whatever we might be going through. This connective tissue can make all the difference in a life well lived, in a life we thought we might live, but never had the courage to. November 6th. Singing is such an excellent thing that I wish all people would sing. Richard E. Byrd. Let's break the sentence down into its 2 parts. Number 1, singing is such an excellent thing. If you've ever sung a song in your life, then you know this to be true. In addition to that, several quotes from the previous 3 books in this series, as well as this one, have spoken at length about the reasons why singing is amazing for us as human beings. So by admitting that, you can say it is an excellent thing. Number 2, I wish all people would sing. So do I, Richard. So do I. And it's because of the aforementioned reasons in this book and others which invites and encourages people to want to sing. If you haven't had the distinct pleasure of letting loose, belting out a song on the top of your lungs, all the while inspiring yourself and others through the feel-good chemicals released and felt during and after a session of singing, then you are surely missing out. Give it a try. You really have nothing to lose and everything to gain. November 7th. I enjoy singing, being in touch with something that is inside of me. Roger Daltrey. The amazing thing about this quote is that when one sings, you're not only in touch with something inside of you, the words and lyrics you were saying and singing through your various body parts that make singing actually happen, but also something outside of you, the melodies and the music in general. When anyone sings, you feel the vibrations of the words, lyrics, and the melody, which comes from outside of you, floating in the air, an idea, if you will, resonating in your stomach and abdomen, your diaphragm, your lungs, your larynx, your throat, your tongue, your mouth, and out into the air. This is the only part of the process everyone else sees and hears. For the singer, they feel everything that happens before the words actually come out audibly for the world to enjoy. How each musical note and word will be sung depends on how you move your mouth, hold open or slightly close your throat, and possibly what you do with your jaw to make certain words, phrases, and lines last shorter or longer, with vibrato or a straight note, loud or soft, lead or harmony. The fact that singing works in both ways, inside and outside of the singer, is awesome. Let us not forget the duality singing brings to the table time and time again. November 8th. Singing is like going to a party at someone else's house. Acting is like having the party at your own house. Share. I like the sentiment behind this quote, but I would switch the first word and action in each sentence to the other one. To me, acting is like going to a party at someone else's house, because when you act, you are adopting or putting on another character. This character is something outside of your actual true self, embodying it as best as you can. So in essence, it is someone else's house. Likewise, singing is like having the party at your own house makes more sense to me too. To me, when you sing, the words and lyrics are coming from a place inside of you and outside of you as well, since music and melodies are from an external source as well as an internal source. When you sing, you are taking words, lyrics, melodies, and music and allowing them to work through you in a very physical way. From having the idea of the words, lyrics, to how you will sing each particular word, line, phrase, and song, you feel it in your stomach, abdomen, lungs, throat, larynx, tongue, and mouth, and after you use your brain and inner ear to bring the music from a place inside of you yet outside at the same time, since music can come from an external place as well to a place outside for the world to enjoy. You are more going to a party at your own house here. In the end, I feel singing is more you than acting is. That is, unless you are portraying yourself in a film, asked to do so by the director, producer, and any other powers that be involved. Then the dynamic most certainly changes with this quote. November 9th. Only when I was singing did I feel loved. Maria Callas. Although I do get the sentiment behind this quote, it is a bit sad to admit the only time you feel loved is when you're singing. Singing is a great way to tap into those feel-good hormones and chemicals, which in turn make you feel loved and on cloud nine. But you ought to feel loved a lot in your life, and not just when singing. Maybe not all the time, but enough of the time so you aren't reduced to feeling it in one particular scenario and nowhere else. If you don't feel loved outside of one area, then maybe it is time to change the kinds of people or change the actual people in your inner circle, those who you see and spend time with the most. They are obviously not filling you with good, positive, hopeful vibes and making you feel worthy of love. Life is too short to associate with people in the long term who do not give you energy, inspire you, and make you feel loved. If they are doing the opposite, making you feel less than human, putting you down in a type of verbal abuse, throwing snide or sarcastic remarks away, or not physically showing you they care about you, hugging, kissing, holding hands, etc., then it's time to discard the friendship and or relationship. The moral of the story is that even if you feel like you're in a situation you can't get out of, or look past, then it's a good thing to find that one thing to hold on to pull you through a tough time. If singing is that for you, then sing, and sing some more. At the same time, do your best to try to stay around positive, life-giving, and loving people, or at the very least, get rid of those bringing you down. November 10th. Singing is one of the most organic forms of humanity. Joe Stewart. I wholeheartedly agree, Joe. I mean, all you have to do is open your mouth and say words with a melodic tone to them, and you are singing. Yes, it's a lot easier said than done, and I did oversimplify the act and art of singing by admitting that, but that is essentially what it is. Anyone and everyone can do it, even if you have a hard time saying words. How so? Because you can hum out a melody or make some sort of sound or noise with your throat. Singing is a bit more evolved than talking, because with talking, you are mostly saying words in a monotonic way. When singing, you are saying words in such a way that sounds quite pleasing to the ears and expressing yourself on a whole different level. Singing dates back to over 530,000 years ago, according to Google, and the oldest song notated dates back to before 800 BC. That is at least over 2,800 years ago. If this statistic tells us anything, it tells us that singing has been around for a long time, and with that, it inherently has to be one of the most organic forms of humanity. Passing songs down from generation to generation, and tribes and families has been going on for millennia, and that will definitely continue with the easy access of modern recording technology at our fingertips too. November 11th. I use acting to get away from myself and to live in someone else's skin. I do singing to get inside my own skin. I need them both for my emotional health. Lindsay Hahn. Talk about incorporating a great balance into your life. Acting is very much getting away from yourself and putting on the skin of another person or character, if you will. It's nice to be able to do this, to get away from yourself from time to time and not be in your head constantly. I found that when I'm not fully in my head and just living in the moment, not worrying about this thing or that thing, I'm able to enjoy the present more. I find the joy in things rather than find the drudgery in things. Plus, it's good to exercise the muscle of creativity when acting, since you can Really play around with the character and make it your own. An example, accents, mannerisms, etc. Lindsay's idea about singing to get inside your own skin is a great observation as well. When you sing, you're very much inside of yourself, thinking about how you're going to sing the present note, whether you're going to sing lead part or harmony part, how short or long will you hold the note out, when to take a breath before a long phrase, and so on and so forth. This is a great way to work on your muscle creativity in a different way than acting. Bringing both of these ways of performing, acting and singing, together most certainly does a body and mind and soul good. In a way, they complement each other. November 12th. A bird doesn't sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song. Lou Holtz. I love this quote. It's so true. So does a bird sing because it has a song and not because it has an answer. We can do the same as human beings. Birds don't think twice about it, neither should we. In fact, we ought to be doing this all the time because no one on planet Earth has all the answers. No matter what your IQ is or what doctorate degree you have, you'll never have the answer to every single question posed to you. And if you really believe you do, you are fooling and lying to yourself. There is a great freedom in singing because you have a song to sing for no other reason. Why? Because singing is fun. One doesn't have to sing for any other reason than that. It's flat out fun to do so. And we don't have to overthink the art and act of doing it. Just being in and enjoying all the moment has to give us is enough. So take a page out of any bird's book and sing whenever, wherever, and whatever you please. And do it simply for the simplicity and joy of it and nothing else. November 13th. If I'm singing something I don't like, it literally feels like stepping on nails. Caitlin Rose. I know the feeling, Caitlin. I've experienced this in my singing career, and it's usually with songs in a particular genre I just don't resonate with at all. This happens when playing live at a venue and someone in attendance requests a song, and I do my best to please them by playing said request. Luckily, most songs are less than 4 minutes, so whatever you're singing will be over soon. The other option is to just not sing said song at all. That way you're not compromising your artistry and what you stand for as a musician. I mean, you don't have to sing it. It's not a life or death situation and not sing a particular song. The bottom line is, why do something you don't want to do? Life is too short, and you have the wherewithal to decide to do something or not. November 14th. To see fans singing your songs back to you is an indescribable thing. Brendan Urie. It really is, Brendan. It is like the circle is completed, from an idea of a song being born to fleshing out an entire song to recording it piece by piece in the studio to finishing the recording to releasing it for the public to hear to performing it live, and much more, like mastering, publishing, copywriting, marketing, promotion. The process of getting a song out there can take months to years. As an artist and singer-songwriter, it is a wonderful experience but can be arduous at the same time. I can sometimes feel like, will this song ever see the light of day? And will people appreciate or enjoy the song as much as I did while writing it and still do when performing it? These questions are regularly asked and can take a lot of energy out of the artist-songwriter while waiting for everything to come together. Waiting is the hardest part. The fact that people know the words and can sing them back to you word for word is nothing short of amazing, miraculous, and any other well-placed adjective here. I've had the chance to experience this in a small way being an indie artist, and it is overwhelming and a true honor. I don't take this kind of thing for granted at all, as there are seemingly countless number of songs people can listen to, and they chose to listen to mine enough to know all the words. That is truly amazing, and I feel nothing but gratitude and blessed. November 15th. Let's sing our way out of this. Isabel. I love the sentiment behind this quote and 100% agree with it. Think about any time you've been in an argument or discussion. Instead of raising your voice in anger, what if you just sang out the words? Or instead of leaders of countries getting into pissing and moaning matches with one another, what if they just sang to each other? Or if you were a preteen or early teenager going through puberty and your voice chops unexpectedly, why not turn that weird high and low note into a musical melody, making light of the situation? With all this said, I would argue that we can use the art and act of singing in many life circumstances to make whatever it is that was said or done to us better, positive, hopeful, and bright. November 16th. Anything that is too stupid to be spoken is sung. Voltaire. I wildly disagree with this quote. In one sense, it is a blatantly rude comment to make. Voltaire is essentially belittling someone's intelligence when he says this. And to me, there is no validity to the statement either. I mean, when and where has he seen this in action? There are only a handful of songs I can think of off the top of my head which would fall into this category, and I've been listening to, appreciating, and creating music for over 3 decades. Those songs I'm thinking of are strictly dance songs, which are meant for people to move their bodies with and not actually tell a story through. For the most part, songs tell stories, and they not only make perfect sense, but challenge and inspire us to be a better version of ourselves. Many songs use literary devices of internal and external rhyming, and rhyming words that don't look like they rhyme when read at face value. That's not only smart, but extremely creative, and completely the opposite of this quote. November 17th. Singing on earth is an accomplishment we can carry with us to heaven. Maria L. Pizzoli. You are most certainly correct, Maria. Singing while we're alive here on earth is a beautiful thing. It not only inspires us when we sing, but we have the ability to inspire others with it too. To me, it's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, feedback loops that exist for us as human beings. And if we're in the business of mindset of positively impacting as many people as we possibly can, then singing definitely fits the mold. Since we are spiritual beings with a conscience and a soul with a physical body, the second half of this sentence speaks to the idea of singing in the physical sense as well as the spiritual soul sense. When we pass on from our earthly physical bodies, our spiritual selves live on. This is where the idea of eternity comes into play, and our souls live on forever. Therefore, our souls can continue, and I believe will continue to sing forever and ever in heaven with all the choirs of angels and saints already there, singing songs of praise and worship. With this said, what we accomplish on earth in the form of singing will live on with us in heaven. November 18th, the total person sings, not just the vocal cords. Esther Broner. You hit the nail right in the head, Esther. It is so true. We've expressed this sentiment in the other 3 books in this series, as well as this book, but it bears repeating. Think about it. When anyone sings, they're putting their entire being into it. Yes, obviously the vocal cords are used, but that's just one part of the body involved in the process. The stomach, abdomen, lungs, larynx, throat, mouth, and tongue are some other obvious parts. In addition to these, what about your hands and arms to really summon the lyrics and the melody out in a forceful, passionate way? What about your brain to figure out what notes or words are coming next, as well as your soul to really feel and connect emotionally with the song so others can do the same? And how about your legs and feet, as I've seen singers get down on their hands and knees to create an intimate moment while singing? All of these rhetorical questions can be answered with a resounding yes. So the total person sings not just one part. Some other dates in this book which speak to several body parts and example more than just one part are April 19th, August 18th, August 30th, October 14th, November 7th and 8th. Feel free to check any of those out for more insight. November 19th, I'll keep singing till I die, Bing Crosby. Darn tootin' Bing. Essentially, the iconic singer is talking about doing something you love every day until you kick the bucket. Singing is what he enjoyed doing, and by the looks and sounds of it, he made it his personal mission to do so until the day he died. What a great way to live, pursuing your passions and following your dreams. Is there a better way? What's even cooler about this quote is that if you have a recording, or several recordings of yourself for that matter, your voice, the songs you sang, and the music you created will continue to live on even after you die. So sing every day until then, if that is what fills you with joy, gives you energy, and leaves you and the world around you in a better place. And as a byproduct of this singing, you'll be around for a lot longer after your physical self expires. Pretty amazing, right? November 20th, my parents wanted me to be a lawyer, but I don't think I would have been very happy. I'd be in front of the jury singing Jennifer Lopez. There's a great lesson to be learned from this quote, and it all boils down to doing what you love and what fills you with joy. If not, you most certainly won't be happy at the very least. At the most, you'll end up presenting yourself, the world around you, or whoever was trying to force you into a different life path. In Jennifer's case, it would have been her parents pushing the lawyer route on her. We've said it before and we'll say it again, but life is too short to not at least try to live it the way you want to. Are there roadblocks, detours, and setbacks? Yes. Are there moments when you may doubt yourself? Sure. Are there times when everything is going swimmingly well, you feel like you are on cloud 9 in the zone and nothing can go wrong? Absolutely. And this is exactly what we should be focused on, the positive outcomes. November 21st, singing is just a feeling set to music, Carrie Underwood. Okay, so singing isn't just a feeling set to music, but I get where Carrie is coming from with this quote. In essence, I believe she's saying that the melody of the words, told through a storyline lyrics in its own unique way, complements the music accompanying it. It's not just what we sing, but how we sing it that matters. Do we put our whole heart and soul into it, fully embodying the lyrics, or do we just sing words that we are reading from a sheet of paper or our website, almost mechanically, without thinking about what we're saying or singing? The same can be said for how we live our lives. It's not just what we do, it's how we do it that matters. Do we go about our daily routine with a smile on our face and positive attitude, or do we accomplish goals and fulfill responsibilities with a frown and negative attitude? Let's make it so that we're living more in the former rather than in the latter. November 22nd, music heals all forms of misery, Friedrich Nietzsche. Music in its essence, in its inherent nature, is meant to make us feel something. It is meant to move us in such a way emotionally, psychologically, and physically. Moving us, it encourages, inspires, and motivates us to be a better version of ourselves. And when we are becoming a better version of ourselves, we inevitably feel good. If music is doing what it's supposed to do, and we feel good, not just in the present moment, but about our past and our future as well. Music in the form of singing brings out those positive feelings and emotions even more through the release of dopamine, serotonin, and even oxytocin, all the feel-good chemicals and hormones in our brain. Think about any time you have been feeling disappointed, angry, sad, or any other negative emotion. I would bet that if you were to listen to any of your favorite songs in that moment, it would immediately turn that frown upside down on the spot. It would change your whole mood in the best way. So when we acknowledge that music heals all forms of misery, that is 100% correct. November 23rd, but when our voices join together, the music sets us free. Julia K. Dinsmore. Yes, it does, Julia. There is something to be said about multiple voices coming together in harmony, both literally and metaphorically with one another. You're not only paying attention to what you were doing, but what to the person on each side of, in front of, and behind you are doing as well. It's a wonderful thing to be inside of yourself as well as outside of yourself at the same time. This way, you're not totally consumed with yourself and taking on more of a group collective effort and pursuing a passion and making it sound the best it can be. In this sense, the music sets us free of ourselves and into the domain of teamwork makes the dream work. Instead of it just being about you and only you, you have to be taking notice of others around you, doing your best to inspire everyone else to be at their best so that the group achieves the greatest possible sound. It's a beautiful feedback loop you may never want to end. November 24th. The most enjoyable part of my career is singing live, Luis Miguel. There is something to be said about singing live, so it's no wonder that Luis feels this way about it being the most enjoyable part of his career. Performing live is a rush. You are not only inspired by the music you're creating, but also by the crowd through their cheers, their participation in singing along to songs, and the overall positive, for the most part, vibe at a live performance, an example, a concert. What ends up happening is that the performer inspires the audience, and then the audience inspires the performer. This continues again and again, raising the level of the performance for everyone in attendance throughout the night. Talk about an awesome feedback loop yet again. November 25th. Make sure your heart is singing right until the day it stops. Julian Casablancas. To me, this quote is more of a metaphor than anything else. I believe what Julian is alluding to is the idea of living your life in the right way until the day you die. There are multiple ways to live a good, well-intentioned, purpose-filled life, but I would go so far as to say it would have to include the following in some way, shape, or form. Being a good, moral, ethical person who inspires and encourages other people to be the best version of themselves. This would also entail being the best version of yourself. If you're doing everything in your power to embody the philosophy, then you're on the right path. November 26th. There is delight in singing, though none here beside the singer, Walter Savage Landor. Astute observation, my friend. I believe what Walter is getting at is that although we can all enjoy singing in its various places, an example, singing in the shower or car, singing with friends or bandmates, singing at a concert, or just listening to other people sing, and with its benefits, physical, mental, emotional, and psychological, there is another element that is special about singing felt only by the singer himself or herself. It's one of those difficult things to describe, but a simple way to look at it is that as the singer, you hear what is happening inside of your head, melody and vocal-wise, before it comes out, as well as what others are hearing as the music comes out of your being. And when it comes out, you are hearing it differently than how others hear your voice. Wow, mind blown. November 27th. They're singing your praises while stealing your phrases. Charles Mingus. Although this quote doesn't necessarily involve the act of singing per se, it is quite poignant nonetheless. A simple, real-world example of how to look at this would be if someone on your team at work says great job to you in private, let's say, but then tries to take credit for an idea you created and implemented in a group setting like a meeting. This idea can be extrapolated out to any industry, any day, and at any time. With this, it is so important to stand up for yourself and be your own best advocate because no one else is going to do it for you. Don't let anyone walk all over you, stepping on you as they try to climb the corporate ladder or impress the boss. In the end, people will respect you for sticking to your guns, as they say, and having a backbone for what you created or what you believe will work after spending the time doing the right research. November 28th. No, the harmonica is the most voice-like instrument. You can make it wail, feel happy, or cry. It's like singing the blues without words. Charlie Musselwhite. I somewhat agree with this quote. The most voice-like instrument to me is the kazoo, because you are literally singing musical notes through the instrument to create a distorted, duck-like sound of your voice. However, playing the harmonica is very much singing the blues without words. The great harmonica players like Little Walter, Tools Thielmans, James Cotton, and Sonny Boy Williamson, to name a few, start off by not having any accompaniment being them. They just played the harmonica in such a way so as to tell the story of what their ancestors or parents had gone through or what they themselves were currently going through. Melodies of pain, suffering, sorrow, and even melodies of joy, longing, and praise. In this sense, it was and still is a beautiful way to express yourself in a meaningful, creative, constructive, inspiring way. Great stuff all around. November 29th. Singing is best. It gives right joy to speech. Genevieve Taggart. At the risk of stating the obvious, why is this the case, you may ask? Because as we've stated several times before, it does all good things for us as human beings. It brings people together in a literal and metaphorical way through singing as a unit in a choir or listening to music at a concert. It connects us both physically and emotionally through the syncing of heartbeats and the common bond we have through song lyrics. It releases the feel-good hormones, serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin in our brains, making us feel good. It improves our overall breathing and can be used as an exercise for the midsection of our bodies. For all of these reasons, singing is best, and you bet your bottom dollar that it gives right joy to speech. After all, singing is taking words written down and expressing them in a poetic, melodic, artistic way. In this sense, singing is a wonderful celebration of speech. November 30th. What I like about singing is that for me, it's a substitute for the psychiatrist's couch, Patty Page. I fully resonate with this quote. Singing and songwriting, for that matter, has been my therapy for life's stresses, responsibilities, hardships, and less than ideal experiences or situations. I've used singing and songwriting to flesh out whatever has been ruminating in my head so that it doesn't live there anymore. Once I'm able to let it out and capture it onto a piece of paper and recording, I set it free from my mind. It no longer has to live there, taking up unnecessary space, bogging me down. And since life is a continual series of ups and downs, it has been a true blessing to express myself in a creative, constructive, positive way over and over again. To me, it is the best tool I've found for dealing with inner demons and frustrations with people and things in the past, what's currently happening in my life, as well as inspirations for the future.